Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, October 30th, and we are going through the daily quest, having a normal live stream. And we had already done everything necessary for the, for the quests that were necessary to do, so... for the Americas account, that's what I meant to say, yeah. So we're already on the European account. I should trade out 50, so I'm going to get rid of the overload since we were playing a lot of shaking cards before. That trades out badly. And everything re-triggered, so when I loaded in here, it said I had another entry to the arena, which I shouldn't, but whatever. I guess we're gonna do an arena round then, just for the heck of it. Demons if we can play them. I'm not gonna bring out Hearth Arena or anything, so let's go with a hunter.
Only beasts are above deceit.
And warlock one. And so I need to play demons, but otherwise I need to pick the best. Trigger friendly minions, death rattle. I'll take the files, certainly. Let's see. Poisonous, I'll give a friendly beast. +2/+2. Taunt. Probably shouldn't have picked that one. Just take that one. Demon. And beast. And... Invest. Interesting move. Take that. We'll take explosive trap. We'll take a cat trick This one. Should we take a silence? Probably. Add a random demon to your hand. Corruption. A change of health to 1. Let's go with corruption. Let's see, the cost of the next spell you cast. Gain 5 health for each elemental you play. Deal damage equal to this minion's attack. I'll take that, but that's not really helpful. I should have taken that demon, but I don't want it. Didn't want it. We're still at 18. Take this. We'll take this. Take another silence. Let's see. Deal 5 damage to all characters, why not? Just keep picking and playing Doom. Charge, can't attack. Heroes this turn. I'll take that, and then we'll take that. No, this could actually prove to be a very terrible deck for the opponent. just because it will do so much damage. I don't understand this retire button. It just shouldn't exist. Alright, so back to the news. I was going through the games that were at PAX Australia that PC Gamer saw. Next game on the list is called Hyper Jam. The video isn't even available. So, let's see. A top-down competitive brawler, which kind of looks like Hotline Miami as a Smash Brothers clone. I can't even see it, so I'm like, no. The next game is called Old Gods. It's just a picture. It's an RPG about teens from the 1990s traveling through time. Old Gods sounds like a straight-faced take on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Instead of fighters and wizards, you play skaters and grunge kids, and instead of alignments like good and evil, they're defined by musical taste, defined by preferences for mainstream, alternative, or underground. Okay. It's not Old Gods, it's Odd Gods. Interesting. And the one picture that's here doesn't really say much. It looks just like it's a painted picture, but I would be interested in seeing more of that. Next game is called Insignia, which looks like a point-and-click adventure, but it's a little bit more zoomed in and a little bit more detailed. None of the names, by the way, of these companies that are recognizable to me because they're all indie things. It's supposed to be like a Super NES game.
Reporting for duty.
And at the booth they were using Super NES mini USB controllers over the more common Xbox 360 controllers that you use.
As you command.
Yeah. There is a bigger argument, certainly, particularly if you're making a retro game or playing a retro game. Do you want a Super NES controller, or would you like a Xbox 360 controller? And for the most part, from my experience, the only time you kind of don't want a Xbox 360 controller is the one time you want a Nintendo 64 controller, because playing Nintendo 64 games is the weird part. You can get easily away with playing an NES or Super NES, and probably haven't tried yet, but any of the Sega systems on the Xbox 360 controller. Or you could go get a Super NES controller, and that works fine too, and may feel more correct to your hands. But once you start putting the Nintendo 64 into it, man, that controls just don't make sense either way. At least not as I'm gonna have to work on it. But this game, to get back to the article, Insignia, I'll check it out if it comes out ever. Next one is called Winter's Wake, which is a first-person text adventure. Let's see what this looks like. It looks like total garbage. Seems like PC Gamer was struggling to have 10 to pick. Like, I can clearly say that there's at least 3 of these 10 games they picked for their top 10 list that could have been left. Let's see.
I don't have enough mana.
Let's do this. Like, so for PAX Australia, I would say, looking at the list of somebody else's top 10, I see only 7 games that are even slightly promising. Interesting. had to go through a gate to make sure my browser was an actual browser to get it to Gameetsu. So maybe they're getting hit heavy for some reason. Is this a real story, or is this just a character reveal in the Japanese game we've already talked about?
I see gold in your future.
It's so funny. Japanese are pretty bad about hitting release dates, at least in the West, yet they're very focused on building hype and getting people
they fell off a drone.
people interested in the game, so that they'll release little trickles of information over and over again. So what is this even game? It's the Atler, Ludia, and Sureli.
At last,
More details about the characters. It still looks like a JRPG. I've talked about it several times. And all of these Japanese announcements, if a game is going to go to the West after the Japanese announcements, all of those, like, potentially 6 to 12 announcements that will trickle out just get combined into one concise article in the West, because most of the people don't even care. And see here, the exact next article I have is a Gameetsu article with the trailer. Now maybe this is just Gameetsu's trick, is that they get one press release, and in that one press release they figured out how to stretch it out
A demo.
to include a significant number of like, I don't know why you'd want to do that. Speaking of articles, I need more articles on my Twitter, and I realized there was a bot that was taking new forum posts on NeoGAF, which I don't know if NeoGAF is really the one to look at now, and putting those on Twitter. So maybe I could find a bot out there that looks at like our games or something like that and fills up my Twitter feed, so then I have a single place to look at it. Sadly, things like Giant Bomb, they don't really publish new news or reviews that much of games. So, like, you might get one review. I was surprised to see one review of a game show up in the from their feed, because I just haven't seen one in so long. All I see is announcements of bombcasts and like free whatever they do on Fridays, and announcements about people sales to buy their memberships.
The light dims.
I suppose I'm going to cover all of the Gamasutra jobs listings, just in case somebody else there is interested in being in the video game industry, working in it. It's not a terribly smart idea, and I would recommend against it, but this will give me something more to talk about. So, iGotcha Studios is hiring a tools developer. They are based in Stockholm, Sweden, so if you want to do that, you can. You're supposed to create, develop. The roles and responsibility are you create and develop and maintain internal web-based tools, pitch in if needed on game systems, including backends and game clients, which honestly, if you're making a internal web-based tools, you're not going to be the right person to be working on the game at all. Like, that's like, if you're doing web-based tools, if I can editorialize here, you're probably going to want to work with some kind of LAMP stack, which is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. That's what you're going to be programming on. If you're making a video game, you're going to probably be using, you know, C, C++, C#, something like that. You're programming on higher elements of Unity.
Watch, they fell off a truck.
Which, like, you just wouldn't have any interest in that. And so those are the 2 roles and responsibilities. And here's the now 5 personality traits they want. Passion for playing and making games. You're an independent, quick learner who can pick up new skills in a short time frame. Okay, so that means first of all they're gonna probably fire you unless you're really, really likable.
Job's done.
Well, I screwed that up. Quality oriented and meticulous,
Amazing.
but still deliver on time. Yeah, this is definitely the type of job that is being written here for. You have to be perfect or you're gonna get fired, and you may still get fired no matter what. And in the video game industry, you may still get fired anyway. Excellent analytical and problem-solving skills, which means apparently they don't want you to bring any problems to anyone else. So you're going to be working all by yourself and expected to do everything by yourself. You're to never bring any problems to anybody else. Let's see. If I did this.
Demo.
This. And then I did this. Here's the essential skills you need now. Experience with working with source control systems such as Git. You have a grasp of a full web stack, including but limited to technologies such as AngularJS and other modular frameworks. Never heard of that. Databases, no SQL variants as well as traditional. So not MySQL at all. So they don't even pay the license for that. For MySQL.
Unleash me.
JWT or other authentication technologies, never heard of that. HTML5, heard of that one. JavaScript/TypeScript, never heard of TypeScript. Maybe I'm old as far as my, yeah, I've been out of the loop as far as programming technology, so I wouldn't be surprised if I haven't heard of a lot of these. That being said, a lot of these do something pretty specific. Something called less/SAS/CSS3. I know what CSS is, so I assume less/SAS is some variant or new version of CSS. CSS is a way of standardizing and making web pages look prettier. You set like default fonts, default default appearances on a lot of things in one file that only has to be downloaded as a style sheet. Yeah. I think that's what it even stands for, is something like custom style sheet. The CSS and 3 is just the third version of it. Excellent writing and verbal communication skills. Now they want you to have excellent writing skills because they want you to document everything before they fire you. I'm being very jaded on this but why not? Let's review the job applications. Excellent interpersonal skills, which is to say they don't want you bringing up any problems or complaining. Here's the preferred skills. Experience with the Agile working environment. Never heard of Agile. Microsoft Stack knowledge, so C#, ASP.NET, ASP Core, and Visual Studio. None of that has anything to do with this job. It all is just what they want you to have, so that you can also be a third-tier programmer on their games also. And desirables. Experiencing developing MMOs. So we now know what kind of company this is. It's an MMO thing. Experiencing developing mobile games. Interested? Apply now. And even for a video game job and just in general, that's a pretty awful job for him, in my opinion. Moving on, Rocket League for Switch launches November 14th. So Rocket League will get another bit of a bump. At a certain point, I think Rocket League is going to just be on everything. And at that point, it's going to hit peak Rocket League. I suppose it still kind of has an appeal over something like trying to make a Micro Machines game and selling it to kids. I don't think there's anything terribly unchild friendly with Rocket League, and I could see kids who are always in the cars or a significant number of them, being allowed to play a game like that instead of a racing game, because racing games are a little bit longer and there's just not that many of them that aren't now full of microtransactions and annoying or require super powerful computers to run.
The master.
Here's 10 corporate dick moves in gaming history. This will be interesting. Let's try to speed through this. Software patents. Let's see. Sanity bars and the D-pad, which Nintendo had the copyright on the D-pad for a while, a long time. Peripherals that unlock content, which Midway had in-game directions, which Sega had, and BioWare's dialogue wheel, which BioWare had. Which all of those are really examples of where patents have gotten crazy. Digital distribution before Steam, which was garbage, and even the things after Steam kind of suck. So like Uplay and Battle.net in itself is still kind of bad compared to if these games like Hearthstone and Destiny were just on Steam, it would be a lot nicer.
When Earth moves,
it'd be trading cards and achievements that mattered. YouTube takedown sprees, okay? Games without endings. Yeah, there's a few games without endings, and there's a few games in the really old days that were programmed in such ways so it was actually impossible to defeat them. Like literal cheats of games because they just, I guess they could get around certification that way. They didn't have to work any further. One would have hoped, even in the old days of the NES, that there was some kind of requirement to show the game actually being finished or played. Let's see. Here's the thing, though. They're talking specifically about Fear 2. So, is the question more about the game didn't have an ending, or the game series and story didn't have an ending? Because both of those kind of equally suck. The Project $10 designed to artificially deflate the worth of your goods by only giving the original purchaser access to the full game and any subsequent second-hand owner having to cough up $10 for an online pass. Ah, yes. That garbage. Which I think, like, have we gotten away from the online pass idea completely at this point? Yeah, I think so. but DLC and season passes are still around, so we haven't completely gotten rid of the concept. But yes, online passes. The idea, I guess, is they probably were creating too much confusion between season passes and online passes. Next one on the list is integrated DLC vendors. So in-game ads, basically, to buy DLC. Here's one talking about Peter Molyneux and God Hand.
I wonder.
What was it called? God Hand or something? No.
Unleash me.
Let's see. There was that. There was the Curiosity Cube, and at the end of the cube you got to be a god and theoretically get some kind of... They promised to give some kind of residuals to a game that the next game they made, but then the next game they made free, and Gladius and the spin-off Gladius Wars were abandoned, and so the person who won the Curiosity Cube. And then 8 here is EA kills everything. And 9 is Piracy Shakedowns, and then 10 is Name Wars, which honestly I think the Name Wars probably not that big of an impact on actual players, like whether companies are complaining about names or not.
Careful, they bite.
Your soul is mine.
Next story we have is PUBG and other battle royale games in general are potentially going to be banned in China for deviating from the socialist core values of their country, which is a slightly different twist than what they usually do in China, because usually what they do is they just rip it off. But and Tencent, which is the biggest video game company in China and is probably heavily influenced, if not directly controlled, by China's government, was also trying to buy up companies and make its own things. So I don't know if something came down the line that says we're not going to be able to succeed here, so why don't you just ban them, or if it came from a bigger higher up authority that says we're going to ban these things because they're too popular and we don't want Western games to be popular, which is inherently why China will never be considered a full member of the video game community, is because they are effectively manipulating popularity. In the same way they're accused of currency manipulating, they're manipulating popularity through strict control of their own people and their own market. And that's why it kind of makes no sense to pander to them, because if you pander to the Chinese market, inherently you're going to just become under control of the Chinese market, which does not work well in an artistic venture. It's going to spell the death of you.
As the master wishes.
So, yeah. At the end of the day, the Chinese people are well enough knowledgeable on how to get around and how to get into it. They will still follow PUBG as long as PUBG is fun. and being played. There's an issue with the PUBG players are complaining about Chinese players connecting to American servers so that they have a longer lag time intentionally, more of a higher ping, and by having that higher ping, the idea is to get a advantage so they can take more time targeting, pull the trigger on a gun, and then since PUBG is run client sides, the person with the higher ping, if both players pull a gun and shoot at each other, it will randomly decide that the person with the higher ping survives. So over the long run, having higher ping is highly beneficial, even though it would make for terrible. The next story we have is a game called The Alliance Alive Launch Edition has been announced for the Americas full character trial. This is an Atlas game. Let's see. And I have not heard anything about this at all, which I think is a little strange.
Your magic shall not save you.
What? They fell off a truck.
It looks like it's a 3DS game, and maybe that's why I've overlooked it. Let's see what the trailer looks like. Kind of miss Red Phoenix. Red Phoenix disappeared, and like he's just in yet another one. Like Loki was really talkative for a while. People burn out. I'm not surprised that they do. There's very little new to be said, and in a weird way, like until there's a significant number of people in the chat bringing in new conversations, like all that can ever happen is that
Die, like, mage.
A demo.
because I'm gonna just say the same things or talk about news, and as fun as Red Phoenix is, he really ends up singing half the time more than anything else. Yeah, I have no idea what kind of game this is. I cannot believe that I'm barely paying attention and somehow winning on this arena run where I just kind of picked random things. I mean, that just really goes to show how random arena runs are, and they're not supposed to be that random. Anyways, if you're interested in Alliance Alive, which is some kind of Japanese RPG for 3DS with cutesy graphics, it's coming out in Americas in and Europe in 2018.
You asked for it.
Let the hunt begin.
The Shadow of Colossus remake is out next February. Does that mean 2018 February? I guess that's what that means. Because in my mind, next February would mean the February after that, 2019. But that's always weird. Here's the problem for me with the Shadow of Colossus remake. It's going to be on the PlayStation 4 and not come to PC, so it's actually just selling the same product to the same people that already have the original, I'm pretty sure. So the 2006 PlayStation 2 original is just getting remade and resold. Why not instead bring it over to the PC and see if you can get some new people on there? Speaking of Sony, Sony now owns the animation company Funimation completely, which doesn't inherently mean anything. It's just that you might see more of a push, possibly, of Funimation products in Sony games. Perhaps, or more of a push of Funimation on the PlayStation Store.
For the crusade!
In the longer run, it might fund Funimation better and improve it. Now that it's part of a big company, or it might just pull an EA and destroy it. Shutter it. Speaking of shuttering, CCP, the people I believe that run that EVE Online game, have shut down their virtual reality development and laid off nearly 100 people. This is kind of to be expected. I think we are past the halfway point as far as virtual reality is concerned. I think people are now seeing that they're not going to make any money on it in the short run, and because of that, they need to take the money and run. I should have pumped this guy up and then attacked. That was bad. Moving on, there's a game called The Gardens Between, which is a surreal time-traveling adventure about growing up. It's coming to the PlayStation 4 in 2018. It's Peggy 3. Made by the Voxel Agents. Now I have to remember I'm looking at all these trailers at a low resolution, so it doesn't affect the streaming. So it looks good enough. It's in this very surreal world. They're walking around this mountain and there's like a giant TV and giant trash can. I don't know how much of this really is just going to be the same mountains over and over again. Apparently you can control the flow of time and rewind things for what seemed like no reason. It honestly feels like it might be a short game where the main characters just automatically walk forward and you don't even control them, and instead you're
Unleash me!
You're controlling the time element. Let's see, but if it is coming to Steam, so that'll be another one to put on my wish list. The Halloween sale is still going on. Maybe I'll spend $10, maybe I won't. But hardly planning on spending a lot. That's most definitely the case.
Your soul is mine.
The last major time manipulation game was Braid, and so that would be slightly interesting. But honestly, it does, from this trailer, feel like the entire game might be less than an hour walk.
Excuse me, you are
Or
on
maybe
fire.
each mountain that they walk up is its own puzzle, and there's several puzzles. But then how do you put in the child growing up story element too? Like, that doesn't make sense at that point. Like, it kind of has to, just on the face of it, imply that you're going to you're gonna spin this.
Careful, they bite.
Just go ahead and get rid of that.
Your soul is mine.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of cheap, but I'll still play it if it's cheap. Was there any talk of how much it was gonna cost? Yeah, it's currently slated to come out in the third quarter between July 1st and September 30th. So it's got a lot of time. And that's what I'm starting to think is that a lot of these announcements are going to be third quarter, fourth quarter of 2018, even 2019 things. It wouldn't be incredibly crazy to announce some 2019 things. What's this? Your deck has no duplicates. Summon all the demons in your hand. How about we do this instead? And then
Job's done.
let's see. Codemaster has revealed a new off-road racer called Onrush, which is funny because like Grid 4 came out and I was in playing Dirt not Grid 4 but Dirt 4 came out, and playing Dirt 3 and playing Dirt Showdown, I liked Dirt Showdown a little bit more than I liked Dirt 3, and I felt like there was a trick here to Dirt 4 being good by them simply getting, let's see,
Amazing.
deal this enemy minion's attack to all of them. I'm seeing on this game Onrush, it seems like you play as both cars and motorcycles or BMX bikes or something. It certainly feels more of like a Dirt Showdown style game without perhaps the Dirt and Demolition Derby idea. And maybe that's why they wouldn't just call this Showdown. But again, it also feels very much like they seems like this should have been just a mode that was in Dirt 4, and I haven't heard anything about Dirt 4, so I'm assuming that we've hit a level where the game was as good as it was gonna ever be.
Why do you call?
Like, I didn't see any real reviews or anything for it. It's coming out in the summer of 2018 for the PS4, and like the other things, I imagine it will come to PC too. Codemasters is a weird company with their releases. You would have thought that they would have waited a little bit longer to announce it, at the very least. I mean, having a game come out every year isn't insane, but announcing it just a couple months after your last release seems crazy. Like but that is right in line with Codemasters. They want you to completely forget about the old things they created, to the point where they've taken a lot of the old things that they've created off
Your magic shall
Steam,
not save.
so they're not even available for purchase. And they want you to focus on the new thing they've created. Purchase that.
Job's done.
Let's see, I could do 1, 2, 3. But I would need
Blessed
a
be
4,
this funnel cake.
and then a 5, and then a 6. the game Night in the Woods is getting a director's cut edition this holidays. This Christmas holidays. Let's see. And you play as a cat in Night in the Woods, and it seems like it's story based. Night in the Woods it's going to be called the Weird Autumn Edition. Comes out December 13th, 2017. Maybe I need to give Night in the Woods a second look. Let's see. Charge. Can't die. How can we do this? If we get this to 1, and then we got this to 2, we could kill 2 of them. This way. And then that's a 3. Can I get a 4 health on this?
Quickly.
The file. And there we go. There's a game called Blood and Truth that's a PSVR Cockney spy shooter from Sony London Studios. It's being made directly from Sony. It looks like some of those games I've played before where it's an on-rail shooter with some trickery. What's the name of that one that I played? Maybe I didn't play it. Somebody else play it, honestly. Yeah, I think I just saw somebody else play it. So this would have been your very standard, it's an on-rail shooter game with a Duke Nukem or sort of like Duke Nukem dirty comedy mentality, and instead they made it a PlayStation VR game, and I think they could easily undo that and put it on PC. And pretty much it's
I am the Lord. I am your master.
pretty much tell that there's not going to be too much interest in the game. I'm not even interested enough to say. GameStop, in the United States at least, is going to offer in-store game rentals with new Power Pass subscription, which those poor employees now even more garbage they're gonna have to deal with. But honestly, since there's no other store that offers rentals that's a nationwide chain of video games or movies besides like Redbox, which I guess some people were using Redbox, but it probably wasn't making a significant amount of money. Let's see. And let's see. Just put this. I think I let's see. You have an unlimited number of games across a 6 month term with an upfront fee of $60. It's called the Power Pass system. It's starting November 19th, and it lets members of the store's Power Up Rewards program rent I don't understand why you can rent an unlimited number of games across a 6 month term. I imagine though, yeah, renters will only be able to have one used game checked out at a time, however, but they can exchange that as many times as one. So this is kind of more of a formalizing of the idea of what a lot of people were doing in GameStop anyways. They're getting a game, playing it for a month, and then returning it for a lot less than what they paid for it. Let's see. The EB Games chain, which is owned by GameStop in South Australia, had a swap and play program, similar manner, but for roughly $16 a month, which is probably, well, actually it's $6 more a month, because $60 for 6 months is $10 a month. And you're getting into Netflix territory, but I guess on the face of it, it seems like it's a good idea, but then when you get down to the will you want to play a used game, or will you be allowed to play a used game that is a week old? Because almost certainly GameStop will have used copies of something that is brand new. Can some people get lucky, take that brand new game, and for $10 a month play it and use that used game, and then return it in a month's time, and then save potentially $50 there? That's the interesting thought. And speaking of interesting thoughts, we've gone another episode. I've managed to stretch out these episodes more. We still have news to talk about. We still have an arena run to finish. I'm breaking up the arena run, which means I'm going to potentially fail miserably on a win streak. And unless I'm very unlucky, I'll get at least one of these done, if not two. Well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.